Oh, welcome back, baseball fans, to the Fall Carryover League elimination videos. Tonight, we're going to eliminate two teams at the same time, kind of encapsulated into one video instead of separating it, because two teams lost and couldn't qualify for the playoffs. Two teams from the mountain, Colorado and Las Vegas. We'll start with Colorado since they're the more familiar team. And first step was to pull their 76 players out of here. And then after that, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And identify what's coming back to the Rockies, pitchers and hitters. And the split, again, hitter dominant, 9-3. 9 hitters, 3 pitchers. So Ferguson is a catcher. Jason Thompson's the first baseman. Don Money can play second and third, so can Wayne Garrett. Arabot can play short. Mora can play left. And then you have Summers who can play right. And then you have these guys, Walkenfuss and Robertson, who I guess can play first or DH. So a lot of players. Then you have no center fielder. And for the pitching, we got a closer, a lefty, kind of want a long man. A lefty long man, a good lefty starter, and a closer. That's not bad. To have two lefties on hand is good. So that's what Colorado. Yeah. So we're looking at the 3 hitters they're missing. It'll be Stanley, Cranepool, and Monday. Stanley's not much. He's just a, defensive shortstop. You can get them. Monday will probably be one of the keepers. We've talked about how long and lovingly the Rockies and Monday seem to have a romance with each other. Ed Cranepool might be near the end of his rope here. And for the 5 pitchers that are lost, Fitzmaurice is getting long in the tooth by this point. Drago is still a reliever with Hamilton. Reed, eventually, he'll be in the bullpen by now, I believe. Roden should be better, I think. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There is the guys to remove from Colorado. And now let's do the same with Las Vegas. Lost wages. Pull their 76 guys out. Let's see, here's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right, so it was a 9-3 split for the Rockies between hitters and pitchers. Vegas, on the other hand, yeah, it's a 7-5 split. That's more traditional. 7-5 is a good balance. So, Nordhagen. Look at this guy. Can play catcher, outfield, DH, and hit both ways. That's nice to have in tow. You got Bavacqua, in tow as well, with the ability to play anywhere you want him. None very good, but you put him in the weakest spot there. Let's put him at DH for now. Put this guy at catcher for now. We don't have a first baseman. We got, I don't have a second baseman. We expect that to be Willie Randolph. We got Doug Rader at third. There's a third baseman, Doug Rader. We have Almon at short. Okay. We have Bumbry, Speed, and Bry in the outfield. That's not very good, is it? And for pitchers, 3 lefties. That's great. I mean, when you already have your lefties, that makes it so much easier. It's so hard to find lefties in the draft. So 2 are starters, 1's a reliever. Gullett, Cobell, Fryman. And the bullpen is much more secure. And you need 2 right-handed starting pitchers and 1 more guy to make up. So with Las Vegas, it's a lot easier to find that. And with these 2 teams now, down to 12-12, we'll take a look at Baseball Reference to see which to see what's going to happen with the 4, 2, and 2. Okay, Rockies and Rivieras, Colorado and Las Vegas. Let's start first with the Colorado Rockies, protecting a lot of offense, not much pitching. Offensively, let's look at Crane Pool first. We think he might be toast at this point. At Crane Pool. And when we look at Easy Ed, 76. Well, he has one more good year in 77. So the question you have to ask yourself, do you want to bump him up for just one more year? No sense retiring him right now. That's a decent year, really. I mean, a 10 homer, 280, 778 OPS. It's not a bad year for a 32-year-old guy who can play first in the outfield. Let's put him on waivers. It's a good spot to start. Start in the middle. That way you can decide, you know what, let's retire him. Or no, let's keep him. So he's worth $100 on waivers. Next up, Rick Monday, who we consider to be a career Rocky. There is old Rick. Played for the Kansas City and Oakland A's, the Cubs, the Dodgers. And due to that bounce aroundness, it seemed to be a good kind of player to add some stability to an expansion team like the Colorado Rockies. He's got some big years coming up, folks. He can't quite get to that 81 year with 1,000 OPS, that ridiculous year where he had 11 homers and 100 at-bats, because that's 5 years out. But he's got an all-star game, look at that, in 78. He's got some 800 OPSs. Well, this is a no-brainer, we knew this anyway. So he is being kept. Monday, of course he's being kept. That's a no-brainer. He's $10,000. All right, next up is Fred Stanley. Now, one thing going against Fred Stanley is that he doesn't hit for power. And the Rockies like power and OPS together. Now, what's interesting, as I recall, is that this 77 card exists. And it's interesting. This 696, look at the on-base percentage, is 370. And if you have a chance to look at the 77 Stanley card, let's do it. We got time here. Let's go to the split. I want to look at this split. Fred Stanley's 77 split here. It's pretty interesting against righties. Yeah, look at that. I mean, against righties, he's got a 455 on base and 788 OPS, even though he didn't even hit a home run. So it's a good 77 card as a righty against righties. Now, whether that's worth keeping is another thing altogether. He could really go in any column, because some team can pull him out of retirement. After 77, he doesn't get above the Mendoza line. Let's be on the conservative side and retire him. Now, by retiring him, you can always pull him out of retirement. All that does is tell the league this dude's retired, and if teams want to look at him, they can look at him. Most teams will ignore him. But if the Rockies can't find anything better, they might bring him back. Now the pitchers, Fitzmaurice. Al Fitzmaurice. Okay. It's starting to get a little grim here, isn't it? Yeah. So 77, he participates. He's just kind of fizzling out, folks. It's just kind of, I mean, he keeps on, but he doesn't keep on in a good enough way to be draftable. So I'm retiring Fitzmaurice. I'm going to retire Al Fitzmaurice. It's just not, just not, not good enough. Rick Rhoden is the next guy. And of course, we know he has a nice little run in the early 80s for the Pirates. So he should be around. Question is, what happens when he kicks around in the late 70s? So he goes in a rotation in 77 for the Dodgers. He's got 2 more good years in the late 70s, early 80s, but he really turns it on in 83 and 84 for the Pirates when he's 30 and 31 years old. So got a nice little long career ahead of him. He's like fine wine. He gets better with age. And for the Rockies, I think you want some stability, so we're going to keep Rick Rhoden. We're going to keep him around. Maybe he'll be a bedrock player for this franchise too. Rick Roden. So they're going to keep him. Next up is Ron Reed, another lifetime Rocky. And Ron Reed, 66 to 84. What a nice long career he had. All right, so here we are with Reed. Oh, now he's settling nicely into the bullpen. Look at that. His starts, 24 starts in 75. And now he's down to zeros in 78, 79, and so forth. And he's really settling nicely into that relief role. Again, this is a no-brainer. Ron Reed. 10,000 bucks for Ron Reed. He's a keeper. All right, next up, Drago. Dick Drago. Dick Pornstash Drago. Believe, oh yeah. And, well, at this point, he goes back from Boston to California to the Orioles for a year, back to Boston and Seattle in 81. He's an okay reliever. 79's got a good year. 77, no, it's only one of these years is good for Drago. That would be 79. So he's not ready to retire, but he's not really ready to, well, 80, yeah. You got to keep 4. Well, let's keep him. For now, let's keep him. And get that one good year in 79, because it's if you get him in 79, that means you have him for 3 years with a 303 rate, a 10-6 record. So if you get this particular card with a 119 whip, it's actually worth it because you have it for 3 years. So we're going to go with Drago because I think he's better than Dave Hamilton. Let's look at Dave Hamilton. Dave Hamilton. And with Hamilton here, nah. I mean, he's left-handed, but when you look at it, he doesn't have a whip below 132. He's terrible in 1980. They printed this card, by the way. There's an 0-3, 1140 ERA card for Dave Hamilton for 1980 for the macabre, for your macabre interests. There's nothing there. But he's serviceable in 77, 78, and 79. So we're going to put him on waivers for now to get the math even. When I get to the math even, by doing these distributions, we get the magic 4-2-2. 4 keepers, 2 waivers, and 2 retires. But you could see that Cranepool could slide in any of these 3 categories, as could Stanley, as could Drago and Hamilton. But for right now, this is their choices. They're not carved in stone. They'll have to be carved in stone when all the teams have to get to 4, 2, and 2. All right. With that done now, let's continue to Las Vegas. We combine these 2 elimination videos together. Vegas, Chris Chambliss. Let's see how old Chris is doing. He should be doing pretty good. He's going to get a couple World Series rings, or at least 1 World Series ring for the Yankees. Maybe not. He'll get a couple. Yeah, he'll get the 77 and 78. 76, he had that walk-off homer in the ALCS. He didn't get a ring that year. Pretty much, you know, typical Chambliss. OPS just under 800, 765. Then moves to 781. After a, you know, a dull 78, he rebounds a little bit in 79. The interesting thing apart, when he gets to Atlanta in the 80s, he rejuvenates himself a little bit. That's a pretty consistent player with a long career. It's a question for Las Vegas. Do you want to keep him? Do you want to give him away? And because you're such a bad team, I would keep a player who has a nice career trajectory for some stability. So we're keeping Chambliss. We're bringing him back. 10,000 bucks, Chris Chambliss. Congratulations, Chris. Next up, Bud Harrelson. His career begins to wane, though he's got some interesting on-base percentage years coming up. Oddly enough, better than when he was a younger player. So here's Harrelson, and check this out, in 79-80, when he's 35 and 36 years old, look at these on-base percentages and batting averages. What the heck happened, man? Is it just that he wasn't an everyday player anymore, so he picked his spots for walks and hits? Back-to-back years, 395 and 373 on base. He never had that when he was a staple for the Mets. Anywhere in there, he didn't get 360. So with those 2 years in play, you can skip the 77 and 78. Plus, you can move him to second base now. You don't have to rely on him as shortstop that you have Almon. I'm thinking that that's too good. Yeah, I'm going to keep him. I'm going to keep Bud Harrelson around, as crazy as that sounds. I like that on base percentage. I really do. And if I get too many of these 10,000s, I'll just kick him into waiver or retire. All right, Ron Hodges. Now this sounds like a retirement. I don't think Hodges is anything anymore. Or he keeps playing, but doesn't continue to play very well. Yeah, so he keeps playing baseball. Unfortunately, maybe he shouldn't. Or, sorry, he just doesn't play baseball very well anymore. So I'm going to put him on the retired list. I mean, he literally has 7 more years of baseball, and I'm going to retire him. Now, that's not the death knell. Like I said, a left-handed hitting catcher, someone will dig this guy out of retirement and give him an invitation to spring training, and he'll make a roster. This won't be a Vegas team that's short on talent. Willie Randolph, we know he's coming back. Let's take a peek and see which year it'll be, though. Probably the 80 year, I'm guessing. All right, this is the golden age of Willie Randolph, from 77 to 80. In 1980, it's 119 walks led the league, and his highest batting average at 294, and he was a Silver Slugger, 15th in MVP voting. Boom, that's yeah. Congratulations, Las Vegas. Willie Randolph will be an all-star at second base for you. All right, next up, Dave Winfield, another guy. He's not going anywhere. Dave Winfield. Man, this Las Vegas team's looking up now. They don't look so hopeless anymore. Yeah, he's just look at this. He's not as good as he was in that 76 card. He didn't go to the All-Star game. Now he will. He's got 4 more Padre years left before his Yankee year starts, and the entire duration may end up with Las Vegas the whole time. So we're just going to keep Winfield, and that's going to be that. Sorry, Padres, and sorry, Yankees, but Las Vegas, they got to compete. They need some players, man. I'm not going to let this Las Vegas team get beat up every year and be a doormat. Mike Torres, I believe he was on the mound when the Yankees won the World Series in 77, I want to say. Yeah, because 78 was with the Red Sox. Yeah, he pitched game 6, the game with the clincher. Got a complete game in that one, too. Oh, boy. You know, oddly enough, this might be a good guy to waive because there's nothing special about him other than the fact that he eats innings. I mean, he literally does one thing. He eats innings. And they don't taste very good. They are 388 at best, 396, 449. And unless, well, what we really should do is let's now bump, we'll do it this way. Let's bump Buddy Harrelson onto waivers and make room for Torres. He is an innings eater, but yeah, whatever. We'll keep him. I still might switch that out, though. His stats are so bad. Bart Johnson. Bart Johnson, I think, might be near the end of his rope, too. Yeah, he's done. He's got 1 more year in 77, and it's bad. No, it's not too bad. It's 401. With a 165 whip. No, he's done. He's done. Get him out of there. He's done. Bart Johnson's done. All right. And we're down to Stan Thomas. And I think he might be done too. Yep, 77. And it's not a good one either. It's pretty bad. 7-11, 602, 612. He's done. All right, Stan Thomas is done. All right, so now with Thomas done and Bart Johnson done, you could kick, remember we talked about Ron Hodges? We can kick him off the retired list and put him on the waiver list so that another team can pick him up off waivers instead of pulling him out of retirement. Let me just double check though that there is a 77 Hodges card. One of the stipulations of when a guy goes on waivers is he has to have a Strat-O-Matic card in the next season, which is 77. And he has, for the Mets, 117 plate appearances. I got one more trick up my sleeve. We know he's a Met, so I'm going to go to this website that you should all be looking at. Gary's Strat-O-Matic rosters. This is a great page. If you want to bookmark this, this has rosters. It's a great resource. And if you go to the 77, you can go see the rosters. We're going to go to the Mets, make sure we see Ron Hodges on the Mets. And we go to the Mets, we see that catcher Ron Hodges is there with John Stearns. So he does have a 77 card. Thank you. superds.tripod.com. superds.tripod.com is where you want to go for that information. And with that, that gets Vegas at 4-2-2, and Colorado is also at 4-2-2. So Hodges, move him over, and we're going to move our buddy Bud Harrelson on waivers. Someone will like the Bud Harrelson card. Okay, and that's it tonight from eliminating two teams from the American League, National League Mountain Division, Colorado and Las Vegas. Thanks for checking out these videos. We'll see you next time.